Hello and welcome to the January 5th, 2025 episode of Nicks News. I am your host, Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we are putting money into this project. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nicks News Facebook page or the YouTube page. That's right, we are simulcasting. Hooray! This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back into the world. Many of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org and goodgoodgood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the viewers. And we are here, our first episode of 2025, and let me tell you, it has been a hell of a first week for 2025. But I am so thankful to have you all here with us. So, you are very low volume on both Facebook and YouTube. Ooh, why are we low volume? Ooh, why is the gain low? Hold on, let me bump it up. Check 1, check 2. Check 1, check 2. Check 1, check 2. How about now? Producer Donna and I were earlier joking about this, that we got everything set for next week, like all of our pre-updates, all of our posts, everything that goes up we put into the planner, and we were gonna have some massive kerfuffle like we did last episode. It turns out it was just the microphone. Gabby in YouTube chat is saying there we go, so it looks like, oh, Donna is saying better as well, so it sounds like we have gotten it fixed. It could also be me. I am a little bit stuffy right now, so I am not projecting as well as I normally do. I could also maybe I could scoot up a little bit closer to the microphone. Told ya. Producer Donna shouting at us that she told me. Yup, you did, Producer Donna. All right, let's get into our news brew. Saying goodbye to the horrors of 2024, we have Rolling Thunder 2024 Imperial Stout. This is a 13.7% ABV high-octane beer. It's an Imperial Stout that's been aged for 9 months in handmade Rolling Thunder Barrel Works Dead Guy whiskey barrels. This is an amazing product from Rogue Ales and Spirits. Let's see 2024 off the right way with this amazing beer. So, because this is a can, we do not need the Balisong bottle opener. So we'll get a good crack on this and blow the gain on that microphone. Oh yeah, that maxed out. That maxed out the mic. Because it is an Imperial Stout, we're never going to get tired of using our Harpoon limited edition snifter. I love this glass. It's a bit of a tall can, a little thin though, so we are going to get into the theatrics of like a 30-second pour. I still haven't gotten music for it yet, so I am working on that though. I have been playing around with the Stream Deck that my sister-in-law gave me, and it's great flopping through scenes. So I am going to look to make a scene for OBS that has music playing while the camera's going while we do the pour. Wow, the whiskey barrel strikes hard on that. Just like 2024 kicked us all quite a bit. Get you out of the way. And yes, Producer Donna in the Facebook chat, it is going to kick my ass. 13.7%. And when we get to a certain article down the road in Health and Medicine, I'll explain why. So let's do our shout outs. So if you are in the Norton Shores, Michigan area, Heaven Can Wait Animal Haven is asking for donations of empty cans and bottles for recycling. Bags can be dropped off at their resale store at 1639 West Sherman Boulevard. All donations are used for the animal shelter's various veterinary programs. I believe it was Cassidy who sent that in. Producer Donna, can you confirm that that was Cassidy who sent in that shout out? I know there's a Lions game going on, so we might be a little short on the Michigan crew, but we'll see. We will see. It's not the right one. There it is. Check, check, check. Na-na-na-na-na. Oh boy. I think it was Cassidy. Is there a huge delay going on? Might be a big delay going on. Yes, it was Cassidy. All right, so to Norton Shores, Heaven Can Wait Animal Haven, and to Cassidy for sending in that shout out. Cheers. That is... Oh. Hey, Julie. That is whiskey brewed with a stout. I am in trouble. Oh my god. That I'm here for now, but we'll be distracted. Yep, Julie in the Facebook chat is watching the Lions game. Today, on the 5th of January, the Lions are up against the Vikings. Both teams are, 14-2? Or is it 13? Are they 13-2 or 14-2 right now? It's absolutely crazy. This has been an amazing season for both teams. And going into the playoffs, this is just bonkers. So good luck to both teams. 14-3. Okay, both teams are 14-3. Interesting. Oh, 14-2. Julie corrected. I was right. It was 14-2. All right, next shout out. Happy birthday to a Nicks Newsy friend and a gaming buddy, and a lurker of Nicks News. He doesn't post much, and that's absolutely fine. Chris, also known as Gabriel. Happy birthday. They are celebrating on the 10th of January, so to Gabe, happy birthday. Oh my gosh. That is whiskey. That was aged. That was beer aged in whiskey. That was not aged in the whiskey barrel. It was just aged in the whiskey. Ooh, we're in trouble. Last one. Usually if we have somber notes, we tend to have them now here in the shout-out section, and we can get on with the good news to be uplifting. So right now, we want to have a moment of silence. Two of our Nicks Newsies we want to extend our love and support for, and that are Nicks Newsies, Mike and Travis, who both lost loved ones this last week. I am so sorry for both of you and your losses. My heart goes out to your families and to you. And if you need anything, please contact me by all means. So just want to do a moment of silence for Mike and Travis's family members who have passed away. And to my friends, I love you both. News quote. I feel like this is a good one given the circumstances and given moving forward into 2025. What do we live for if it's not to make life less difficult for each other? That comes from Mary Ann Evans, who is known by her pen name of George Eliot. She was an English novelist, a poet, a journalist, a translator, and one of the leading writers of the Victorian era. And that quote again, moving into 2025, I feel like this is going to be a big experience. I think this is going to be a crazy year. But I think we've got things to look forward to, like one another, if we're good to one another. And we can do so by taking this to heart. What do we live for if it's not to make life less difficult for each other? So to Mary Ann Evans, better known by her pen name of George Eliot, thank you. Bug update. Elmira's still snoozing. Sue is an angry little rage machine. Ripley scares me in ways I've never experienced fear before. And the swarm is down to its final 5. That's right. The mantis horde that was once 50 strong is now down to a tenth of its original strength. However, it is no less formidable because that means we have 5 very interesting little mantises who have successfully gotten through their first molt, so they're now larger and sizing one another up on a daily basis. Some of them that we have, I call one tripod because they only have 3 legs because they had a little bit of a mismolt. We've also got the chameleon because they blend into literally every surface in that vivarium. I haven't named the others yet, but they are a bonkers little group still fighting to see who will win the title of Mantis MacLeod. Who shall be the one? Only time will tell. Hey, Kendra in the Facebook chat. Hey, Matt in the Facebook chat. Decimated. Yep, the numbers have been decimated, and it's gonna be a race to the finish to see who can complete the great game. All right, we are gonna get into our good news. Our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice articles that we like to end on that hit you right in the feels. So, and also Julie in the Facebook chat. In this episode of Nicks News, a beer kicks Nick's butt. More on that when we hit health and medicine. But first, we're going to start off in science and technology, category 1. And I called this article, Bye Bye Microplastic Pie. And this was sent in by Mona, so thank you very much, Mona. I will copy and paste this into the chats if y'all want to read along. Actually, I can scoot these 2 over now. I can do that. There we go. Bye Bye Microplastics. New plastic is recyclable and fully ocean degradable. This was posted on Riken JP, and it was posted on November 26th of 2024. The reference for it was Cheng et al. Mechanically strong yet metabolizable multivalently form a cross-linked network structure by desalting upon phase separation. It was an article. But we are going to distill this down into science. We had this as a news nibble, one of the little posts that accompanied either a Facebook or an Instagram update about when our next episode was. But we wanted to do the whole article because it's a very fascinating article. So, researchers led by Takuzo Eita at the Riken Center for Emergent Matter Science, or the CEMS, have developed a durable plastic that won't contribute to microplastic pollution in our oceans. The new material is as strong as conventional plastics and biodegradable, but what makes it special is that it breaks down in seawater. The new plastic is therefore expected to help reduce harmful microplastic pollution that accumulates in oceans and soil and eventually enters the food chain. The experimental findings were published on November 22nd in Science. Scientists have been trying to develop safe and sustainable materials that can replace traditional plastics, which are non-sustainable and harm the environment. While some recyclable and biodegradable plastics exist, one big problem remains. Current biodegradable plastics like PLA often find their way into the ocean, where they cannot be degraded because they are water insoluble. As a result, microplastics, or plastic bits that are smaller than 5 millimeters, are harming aquatic life and finding their way into the food chain, including our own bodies. That's right, we're made of microplastics. In their new study, Eita and his team focused on solving this problem with supramolecular plastics, polymers with structures held together by reversible interactions. The new plastics were made by combining 2 ionic monomers that form cross-linked salt bridges, which provide strength and flexibility. In the initial tests, one of the monomers was a common food additive called sodium hexametaphosphate, and the other was any of several guanidinium ion-based monomers. Say that 5 times fast. Both monomers can be metabolized by bacteria, ensuring biodegradability once the plastic is dissolved into its components. While the reversible nature of the bonds in supramolecular plastics have been thought to make them weak and unstable, says Ada, our new materials are just the opposite. In the new material, the salt bridge's structure is irreversible unless exposed to electrolytes like those found in seawater. The key discovery was how to create these selectively irreversible crosslinks. As with oil with water, after mixing the two monomers together in water, the researchers observed two separated liquids. One was thick and viscous and contained the important structural cross-linked salt bridges, while the other was watery and contained salt ions. For example, when sodium hexametaphosphate and alkyl diguanidinium sulfate were used, sodium sulfate salt was expelled into the watery layer. The final plastic, alkyl sp2, was made by drying what remained in the thick viscous liquid layer. The desalting turned out to be the critical step. Without it, the resulting dried material was a brittle crystal, unfit for use. Resalting the plastic by placing it in salt water caused the interactions to reverse, and the plastic structure destabilized in a matter of hours. Thus, having created a strong and durable plastic that can still be dissolved under certain conditions, the researchers next tested the plastic's quality. Because what is a plastic product if it can't hold up? The new plastics are non-toxic and non-flammable, meaning no CO2 emissions, and can be reshaped at temperatures above 120 degrees Celsius like other thermoplastics. By testing different types of guanidinium sulfates, the team was able to generate plastics that had varying hardness and tensile strengths, all comparable or better than conventional plastics. See, this is my jam because this is all just engineering stuff, and I love material science, so I apologize if this is a little bit of a slog, but this is like, I'm jamming to this as we go along. This means that the new type of plastic can be customized for need. Hard scratch-resistant plastics, rubber silicone-like plastics, strong weight-bearing plastics, or low-tensile flexible plastics are all possible. So there's a menagerie of different plastic applications as well that this can be used for from this one type of biodegradable new plastic. The researchers also created ocean-degradable plastics using polysaccharides that form cross-linked salt bridges with guanidinium monomers. Plastics like these can be used in 3D printing as well as medical or health-related applications, so we're expanding it even further. Nerdgasm from Matt in the chat, in the Facebook chat. Lastly, the researchers investigated the new plastic's recyclability and biodegradability. After dissolving the initial new plastic in salt water, they were able to recover 91% of the hexametaphosphate and 82% of the guanidinium as powders, indicating that recycling is easy and efficient. In soil, sheets of the new plastic degraded completely over the course of 10 days, supplying the soil with phosphorus and nitrogen similar to fertilizer. With this new material, we have created a new family of plastics that are strong, stable, recyclable, can serve multiple functions, and importantly, do not generate microplastics, says Ada. That is awesome. To everybody at the Riken Center for Emergent Matter Science for cooking up new biodegradable plastics, and for Mona for sending in that article, cheers. Hey, Caitlin in the Facebook chat. Oh my gosh, this beer is going to destroy me. This is a big beer. Okay. Whew. Whew. All right, we're going to move on to our second article. I called this one A Whole New Toolbox. This one was sent in by Eliza. So Eliza, thank you very much for sending this one in. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. AI technology helps level playing field for students with disabilities. This was posted to VOA News on December 29th of 2024 by the Associated Press. For Mackenzie Gilkison, spelling is such a struggle that a word like rhinoceros might come out as rhinoceros, or sarcastic as sarcastic. The 14-year-old from suburban Indianapolis can sound out words, but her dyslexia makes the process so draining that she often struggles with comprehension. I just assumed I was stupid, she recalled of her early grade school years. But assistive technology powered by artificial intelligence has helped her keep up with classmates. Last year, Mackenzie was named to the National Junior Honor Society. She credits a customized AI-powered chatbot, a word prediction program, and other tools that can read for her. I would have just probably given up if I didn't have them, she said. Artificial intelligence holds the promise of helping countless students with a range of visual, speech, language, and hearing impairments to execute tasks that come easily to others. Schools everywhere have been wrestling with how and where to incorporate AI, but many are fast-tracking applications for students with disabilities. Getting the latest technology into the hands of students with disabilities is a priority for the U.S. Education Department, which has told schools they must consider whether students need tools like text-to-speech and alternative communication devices. New rules from the Department of Justice also will require schools and other government entities to make apps and online content accessible to those with disabilities. There is concern about how to ensure students using it, including those with disabilities, are still learning. Students can use artificial intelligence to summarize jumbled thoughts into an outline, summarize complicated passages, or even translate Shakespeare into common English. I don't think any of us can do that well. But I guess AI can. And computer-generated voices that can read passages for visually impaired and dyslexic students are becoming less robotic and more natural. I'm seeing that a lot of students are kind of exploring on their own, almost feeling like they've found a cheat code in a video game, said Alexis Reed, an educational therapist in the Boston area who works with students with learning disabilities. But in her view, it is far from cheating. We're meeting students where they are. I absolutely love that quote. Ben Snyder, a 14-year-old freshman from Larchmont, New York, who was recently diagnosed with a learning disability, has been increasingly using AI to help him with homework. Sometimes in math, my teachers will explain a problem to me, but it just makes absolutely no sense, he said. So if I plug that problem into AI, it'll give me multiple different ways of explaining how to do that. He likes a program called Question AI. Earlier in the day, he asked the program to help him write an outline for a book report, a task he completed in 15 minutes that otherwise would have taken him an hour and a half because of his struggles with writing and organization. But he does think using AI to write the whole report crosses a line. That's just cheating, Ben said. And therein lies a very important solution to that, where earlier it was the hope is that these AI models and these electronic assistants are the students still learning. The students know the difference. The students know what crosses the line. That right there, that's just cheating, Ben said. So the student understands what he's using this program for. And I'll tell you, when I was going through college, when we had really hard, it was engineering, when we were doing some really crazy math problems, we plugged a bunch into all sorts of different different math programs that we had access to, just to see how those programs would deal with the problems sometimes, to see if there were shortcuts or if there were other ways that we weren't seeing how to do it. And it blew our mind that there were alternative paths that we just really hadn't seen because we were staring at the numbers and not, we didn't have those tools in our toolbox. So these AI programs and this new technology definitely has the chance to be new tools in the toolbox for these kids. Schools have been trying to balance the technology's benefits against the risk that it will do too much. If a special education plan sets reading growth as a goal, the student needs to improve that skill. AI cannot do it for them, said Mary Lawson, General Counsel at the Council of the Great City Schools. But the technology can help level the playing field for students with disabilities, said Paul Sanft, director of a Minnesota-based center where families can try out different assistive technology tools and borrowed devices. There are definitely going to be people who use some of these tools in nefarious ways. That's always going to happen, Sanft said. But I don't think that's the biggest concern with people with disabilities who are just trying to do something that they couldn't do before. Another risk is that AI will track students into less rigorous courses of study. And because it is so good at identifying patterns, AI might be able to figure out a student has a disability. Having that disclosed by AI and not the student or their family could create ethical dilemmas, said Luis Perez, the Disability and Digital Inclusion Lead at CAST, formerly at the Center for Applied Specialized Technology. Schools are using the technology to help students who struggle academically, even if they do not qualify for special education services. In Iowa, a new law requires students deemed not proficient, about a quarter of them, to get an individualized reading plan. As part of that effort, the state's education department spent $3 million on an AI-driven personalized tutoring program. When students struggle, a digital avatar intervenes. Hey, Tim in the Facebook chat. The U.S. National Science Foundation is funding AI research and development. One firm is developing tools to help children with speech and language difficulties. Called the National AI Institute for Exceptional Education, it is headquartered at the University of Buffalo, which did pioneering work on handwriting recognition that helped the U.S. Postal Service save hundreds of millions of dollars by automating processing. We are able to solve the postal applications with very high accuracy. When it comes to children's handwriting, we fail very badly, said Venu Govindaraju, the director of the institute. He sees it as an area that needs work, along with speech-to-text technology, which isn't as good at understanding children's voices, particularly if there is a speech impediment. Sorting through the sheer number of programs developed by education technology companies can be a time-consuming challenge for schools. Richard Collada, CEO of the International Society for Technology and Education, said the nonprofit launched an effort this fall to make it easier for districts to vet what they are buying and ensure it is accessible. So there are groups out there that are doing their best at figuring out what the best programs are to help students and getting those in the hands of the schools and the educators. Mackenzie wishes some of the tools were easier to use. Sometimes a feature will inexplicably turn off, and she will be without it for a week while the tech team investigates. The challenges can be so cumbersome that some students resist the technology entirely. But Mackenzie's mother, Nadine Gilkison, who works as a technology integration supervisor at Franklin Township Community School Corporation in Indiana, said she sees more promise than downside. In September, her district rolled out chatbots to help special education students in high school. She said teachers who sometimes struggle to provide students the help they needed became emotional when they heard about the program. Until now, students were reliant on someone to help them, unable to move ahead on their own. Now we don't need to wait anymore, she said. That is awesome. To everybody involved in these school districts with integrating different AI technology, machine learning, and new technology to help students with disabilities get the leg up to get back on the even playing field, and to Eliza for sending in that article. Cheers. Ooh, Tim is saying he's lagged out. He's going to log back in. Fingers crossed, Tim. I hope nobody else is experiencing any lag with our service. I haven't seen anything bad, and I have been monitoring everything. Let me tell you, this new computer watches everything like a hawk, and all the metrics are looking good so far. Okay, so that's going to get us out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine, where we're going to start off with something a little different and a little special. It's kind of a bit of a PSA, and I call it How Not to Spend Your Weekend, a Norovirus Story. I am going to copy and paste a Facebook post into the chat. Producer Donna found this, and I think it's fantastic. And we are going to discuss it because for the last 4 days, I have been suffering from norovirus. Maybe you've heard of it in the mainstream news. Maybe you've heard of it from word of mouth. It is going around, and it sucks. So, from SciBabe on January 2nd on Facebook, let's talk about norovirus. It's on the news, and it's coming to a public toilet near you soon. Contrary to what everyone's Uncle Chet says, this isn't a deep state plot to bolster Pedialyte sales. Lately, any warnings about freshly circulating viruses tend to provoke overly confident responses from definitely very smart people that this one must be a scam. I'd understand some hesitancy to declare the sky is falling if this was some heretofore never encountered microbe, but norovirus, it's an old familiar brand of fuck you up. And it did that to me. Also referred to as the Norwalk virus, or winter vomiting disease if you want to get fancy, it's what you're thinking of when you think of a stomach flu. The main symptom is, technical term, having it shoot out of both ends. Oh, jeez, I'm having flashbacks. This is sometimes accompanied by gastric pain, weakness, lethargy, headache, a low fever, and begging for the sweet release of death from whatever god you must have displeased. And let me tell you, I was praying to the porcelain toilet quite a bit. It's been called the perfect human pathogen, and evolutionarily that might just be true. There are 7 genogroups with countless strains in each group. An infection gives you immunity to that one strain for a mere 6 months. It doesn't confer any reliable degree of immunity to the rest of the nauseating family tree. Its final boss level hard to kill, lives on surfaces for weeks, can be passed via food or utensils, and is easily transmissible even without direct contact between infected people. I think that might be where I got mine from. I think how I got it is it might have been on food that I ate. Because shortly, within the incubation period, that's when it hit me. But Miss Auntie Cybabe, surely we can limit the spread if people just stay home while they're symptomatic. I thought so too, but I had a quick poke around the internet for what 4 out of 5 dentists said. After a blink and you'll miss it incubation period, sometimes as short as 12 to 48 hours, the virus is transmissible when symptoms hit. The real kicker, though? People remain contagious for at least 2 to 3 days after their symptoms clear. Sometimes they can pass it for up to another 2 weeks. A few chuckleheads on Twitter posted that newspapers in the UK are ordering everyone to stay home for 48 hours. Which, of course, no they're not. That's not happening. There is no widespread lockdown order. They've recommended that people who have been sick stay home for at least 48 hours after their symptoms have ended. Given the extended contagious period, and that that sentence is a little weird, but you're not going to want to move after your innards have been kicked out of you. Anyway, 2 days on the couch sounds just dandy. Out of an estimated 20 million cases annually in the US, some people are hit with a particularly unpleasant case. Per the CDC's website, in a typical year, there are 465,000 hospital visits and 109,000 hospitalizations, mostly for dehydration-related issues. That is the biggest thing. If you get norovirus, I was dehydrated beyond belief. Water will just run out of you. You have to be constantly hydrating. If you get norovirus, if you think you've got a stomach flu or food poisoning, like I thought it was food poisoning at first, but turns out more than likely it was the norovirus. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Pedialyte, Gatorade, water, especially water. You can't just be drinking the Pedialyte or the Gatorade. You have to be hydrating with water too through the whole process, and it's going to be a slog getting through it, but you'll get through it. I promise you. A virus doesn't have to land you in the hospital to be a miserable time. I had norovirus. This author had norovirus once, and once was plenty. It's the only time in their life that they pulled over to the side of the road to throw up, and they slept on the bathroom floor. I also kind of laid down on the bathroom floor because it was nice and cool. They lived across the street from a store and didn't have the physical strength to go get electrolyte replacement fluid. Do not recommend norovirus. Preventing every case is an impossibility, but there is one neat trick to reduce your contribution to the viral plume and your chance of praying to the porcelain toilet. Wash your hands. That's a big thing, especially something I've been doing. If you get norovirus, wash your hands. You do not want to be spreading it, and that is how you're going to be spreading it, is any contact you've had with your hands on parts of your body where a norovirus might be coming out. When you touch surfaces, it's going to go to it. Wash your hands, keep them clean. Do not spread norovirus. A good vigorous scrubbing with plain old soap is exactly what will take this virus right off your hands, hopefully before you touch your mouth without realizing it. Though hand sanitizer is useful for a lot of other nasty business, norovirus's structure allows it to be all but impervious to your tiny bottle of Purell. That's right, norovirus is almost entirely impervious to, like, hand sanitizer. But soap and water, properly washing your hands, can get enough of the enough of the virus off your hand surfaces that if you touch your mouth, your nose, any of your mucous membranes, you're not going to be giving it to yourself through a large viral load. So if you're trying to avoid this entirely and you know that there's an outbreak in your area, it can't hurt to mask up while you're out, mostly to keep your hands away from your mouth. The best thing you can do is scrub your hands early and often. And just in case, maybe grab some Gatorade or Pedialyte while you're out. Chet will thank you when he needs it. So that is the post from Cybabe regarding norovirus. If you get norovirus, again, hydrate. During this time while norovirus is going around, wash your hands often before touching anything that you're going to come in contact with that you may then be bringing your hands up to your mouth and nose. I hope none of you get it, because it has been horrible. It has also, like, because I've been so dehydrated and hydrating and going through this cycle, it's also why I was a little hesitant with drinking a news brew tonight. And it's also why it is probably kicking my ass, because I am probably still just a little dehydrated. Despite having, like, tanked up before the broadcast, I'm still feeling it. And this beer is just knocking me out. So to Cybabe and to everybody who's preventing everyone else from getting norovirus or dealing with it, cheers. Oh, the beer is whiskey. Oh, it's whiskey. All right, I call this next one Parks and Rec MD. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Sorry. I got to pick that up. It's the emergency line. Oh, Sean is in the chat. Hey, Sean. Halton residents can now access local conservation areas for free with a health professional's prescription. This was posted to Inside Halton News on December 27th of 2024 by Sabrina Almeida. People from Halton Hills, Milton, Oakville, and Burlington can now get a nature prescription that allows them 10 free visits to Conservation Halton Parks to improve their health. Earlier this month, Conservation Halton and Halton Healthcare partnered with the Parks PARX program, I love that, initiated by BC Parks Foundation to promote the therapeutic benefits of nature-based health solutions in their region. Adam von Culverden, Member of Parliament for Milton, who introduced the Parks program to Halton earlier this summer, calls it a game changer for our community. That is a big thing. I may love the winter, but let me tell you, when spring and summer and fall roll around, there is a nature preserve right by my house, and I love taking hikes through there. I have never felt better than, like, after an hour or hour and a half of hiking through the park. Goes through wooded areas, large plains. It's fantastic. There really is a thing for some folks, not for everybody, but there is something about hitting a park or just an open nature area and what it can do for you. So I really like this. It encourages outdoor activity, fosters a connection with nature, promotes physical health, and nurtures mental resilience and environmental stewardship, Van Culverden said in a media release announcing the program launch on December 2nd. Halton Healthcare declared it is proud to be the first hospital system in Canada to partner with parks in the statement. The partnership between Parks and Conservation Halton allows health professionals to prescribe an effective remedy to our patients, stated Dr. Stephen Chin, Halton Healthcare's interim vice president of medical affairs. Nature prescriptions offer an accessible and sustainable way to improve the health of our community and is a wonderful complement to the care we provide. According to Dr. Chin, spending more time in nature is a great way to treat and prevent chronic diseases, keep healthy, and even extend life expectancy. We know that certain diseases like high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes are linked to chronic stress too. Spending more time in nature, releasing natural endorphins, and improving cortisol levels can help reduce stress, and also blood pressure in some ways, and hopefully delay the onset of diabetes and heart disease as well, he explained in an interview. The doctor says being outdoors can also help with mental health and sleep. Encouraging people to spend more time with nature, Dr. Chin said that even short snippets of time outside is good enough. This is why that quote, "go touch grass," is so important sometimes. I think 20 minutes per day is sufficient, said the doctor. It doesn't have to be running, it can just be walking, he added. It's a bit cold right now, but when it gets warmer, it being outdoors, will help reset people and bring significant health benefits to many, according to Dr. Chin. After obtaining a nature prescription from a healthcare professional, patients must fill out a Parks request form on the Conservation Halton website. We just want to make sure it's very, very simple, said Craig McCann, Conservation Halton's Parks and Operations Director. According to McCann, Conservation Halton is the first park program in Ontario to offer free entry passes to people with nature prescriptions. Producer Donna is looking forward to getting one. Good on you, Producer Donna. We're following what national parks and other park agencies across Canada are doing by giving free admissions to make it as easy and as accessible as possible, he said. Having 8 people sign up within 24 hours of the launch is quite amazing, according to McCann. Conservation Halton has 8 parks: Crawford Lake, Hilton Falls, Kelso, Mount Nemo, Mountsburg, Rattlesnake Point, Robert Edmondson, and Area 8 for people to enjoy. I personally would want to hit Rattlesnake Point and Area 8 because those sound awesome to me. When the season is open, there really is a lot of opportunity for people to get out into nature and enjoy themselves and be comfortable. We're close to home, so you're not driving an hour and a half or more to get into nature. We're in everybody's backyards, said McCann. Conservation Halton joins a growing movement of support for Canada's National Nature Prescription Program, which began in British Columbia in November 2020 and launched in Ontario a few months later in February of 2021. While the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority, the TRCA, came on board in March of this year, the Toronto Zoo joined last September. Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority also showed its support by hosting a Park Prescription Parks Day at Scanlon Creek in October. Dr. Chin said nature prescriptions can be issued by a number of healthcare professionals, including an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, a dentist, a dietitian, a family doctor, a kinesiologist, massage therapist, registered nurse, optician, physician, pharmacist, psychologist, podiatrist, and social worker. Talk to your healthcare professional about the Park Prescription Program to make sure that they're supportive of it and that it fits their goals for you as a patient, advised McCann. Then, just go outside and enjoy it. That is awesome. To everybody involved with this park system in Canada, in Halton Hills, Milton, Oakville, and Burlington in Canada. Cheers. All right, so that gets us out of health and medicine. We're going to move on to category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. And we are going to debut a new article title, one of the new constants. We have many constants, like if we have a bee article, we do all the buzz. If it's cancer, we have cancer, fuck cancer. And if we have cats, we have the obligatory cat article. But while we were doing the article names for today, Donna and I got into a conversation about what about dogs. I know we have many cat lovers here in the Nicks Newsies, in the viewers, but I personally am a dog lover, and I'm sure we have some dog lovers too. So we are going to call dog articles from now on Heckin' Good Boys. That's right, we're going to use the meme. I don't care. I laughed immediately when I thought of it, so it's going to stick. So this is going to be our Heckin' Good Boy, and I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to read along. Also from producer Donna in the Facebook chat, we get a lot of dog articles. So just like having all the cat articles with the obligatory cat article, we're going to have the Heckin' Good Boy. Stanley, a very good boy, saves other dogs' lives as a blood donor. After 17 donations, Stanley the pit bull still has no clue he's a hero. And if you look at that face, he definitely doesn't. When he jumped into the car that Sunday, Stanley knew where they were going. He started wagging his tail and his mouth widened into a grin. Usually when they go for rides, his sister, another pit bull, comes along. But when it's just Mom and him, Stanley knows he's heading to that place where all those ladies in scrubs are always so excited to see him, where he gets to lie on a soft blanket while they rub his belly and tell him he's a good boy. He knows there will be treats. Lots of treats. He has no clue he's donating blood and saving other dogs' lives. Okay, buddy, are you ready? Oh, sorry, this was posted to the Tampa Bay Times on December 29th of 2024 by Lane DeGregory. Man, I got ahead of myself because I was so excited for this article. Okay, buddy, are you ready? Veterinarian Lenore Basek asked, unclipping Stanley's plaid collar. She patted a waist-high metal table. Can you climb up? Stanley licked her hand, put his front paws on a chair, and hoisted himself up. He lost his back left leg, but still hop runs, gets the zoomies, and has strong frontal legs. He has no idea he's a tripod, said his mom, Jen Jorn, 58. Stanley knew the drill. Lying on his right side on the tie-dyed fleece, he stretched out his left front foot, which the vet wrapped in purple tape. She pulled out a needle and checked a chart. Wow, this is your 17th donation, Bassick said. Your 3-year anniversary of being a hero. While the vet injected Stanley with a sedative, the dog looked to his owner, who was stroking his side. Soon his eyes closed slightly, his breathing slowed, his chin fell to the table, but his tail never stopped wagging. There you go, the vet said, caressing his neck. That's it. Stanley is almost 5. He stands knee-high and he weighs 60 pounds. A snowy stripe splits his wide forehead and rings his round nose. He looks like he's wearing white socks. When he was 6 months old, a car hit him in Tampa, tearing his Achilles tendon and severing his left rear femur. The driver took off. A stranger carried the bleeding puppy to an animal hospital where his leg had to be amputated. 2 weeks later, in September of 2020, Jen agreed to foster the timid dog through a rescue group, Passion for Pits. She quickly fell in love with the goofy, affectionate tripod who snuggled into her side and wouldn't stop kissing her. I could tell right away he was an old soul, Jen said. She adopted him and named him Stanley because the Lightning had just won the Stanley Cup. I've had 10 dogs over the years, Jen said. He is by far the happiest. At their home in St. Petersburg, Stanley loves wrestling in the backyard with his sister, Jujubee, and climbing into Jen's lap wherever she sits. He chases spiky plastic balls and inhales cheeseburger-flavored Cheetos. Every 3 months on a Sunday morning, Jen drives him to Blue Pearl Pet Hospital in Clearwater to donate blood. He has contributed a total of more than 2 gallons so far. Each donation can save 3 other dogs. There's a desperate need for more donors, the vet said. As more pet owners bring their animals in for surgery, as animals require transfusions, chemotherapy, and plasma, she said, the demand for blood just keeps increasing. We're struggling. We need 30% more donors just to keep up. The first successful blood transfusion was not between people. In 1665, British doctor Richard Lower transferred blood from a healthy dog to revive a dying one, paving the possibility for similar procedures with humans. 2 years later, he transfused lamb blood into a person. Transfusions between humans was tried as early as 1818, but didn't become widespread until World War II. Blood transfers between pets began growing a decade later, as veterinarians started bringing their own dogs and cats to their offices when they needed donors. Some even kept animals at their clinics to give blood. In the 1980s, when vets began sending pets to hospitals for emergency and specialized surgeries, blood banks started emerging, with many high-volume animal hospitals keeping closed colonies of cats and dogs as on-site suppliers. Blue Pearl operates 110 animal hospitals across 30 states, serving more than 1 million pets. It has 13 blood banks, including one in Tampa. More than 100 dogs and 30 cats donate at the hospital and at offices in Clearwater and Brandon. Ferrets, birds, even bearded dragons also donate blood. So far this year, across Tampa Bay, more than 502 pet patients have needed transfusions at Blue Pearl facilities. Some donors are pets of the staff, but many, like Stanley, come because their owners want to help. Jen heard about dog blood banks 11 years ago in New Jersey when her bulldog Opie got cancer. She signed up her next dog, Cece, to donate. When she moved to Florida and started working in St. Petersburg's Neighborhood Services Department, she learned about Blue Pearl. She has brought 3 dogs there to regularly give blood. It's important to me to save other doggies, Jen said. It takes us less than an hour. Stanley loves the attention, and I know he's making a difference. Every time Stanley's blood is used, she gets an email saying he saved someone's pet. To donate, dogs have to be healthy, 1 to 8 years old, weigh at least 55 pounds, be spayed or neutered, and have all their shots. They can't have been pregnant or had cardiac disease. They get free physical exams, lab work, DNA testing, and have annual meetups with other dog donors. Animal breeds have nothing to do with blood type. Pets, like people, have different blood groups and can be positive or negative. But Dobermans can donate to Dachshunds. Maine Coons can save calicos, as long as their blood is in the same group. Cats have A, B, or AB blood. Dogs have over a dozen groups, 6 of which are common. About 40% of dogs are universal donors, like Stanley, which makes their blood especially valuable. While Stanley snoozed, the vet checked his ears, teeth, and nails, then shaved a circle the size of a quarter on his throat. Blood flows fastest from dog's jugular veins. That's where she stuck the needle. Okay, here we go, she said, scratching his neck. You okay? You're such a good boy. Blood began to flow through the straw-sized tube, then into a clear bag set on a silver scale. Dogs can donate a pint at a time, cats about 2 ounces. Fresh blood lasts a month. Frozen plasma lasts forever and can be transported across the country. 15 minutes after the needle went in, Stanley's eyes were still half closed. When the vet pulled out the needle and wrapped gauze around his neck, he barely moved. But as soon as a tech opened a bag of treats, Stanley suddenly sat up and licked her nose. You did great, Stanley, the vet said, clipping his collar back on. You just saved some more lives. When he climbed back into the car that Sunday, Stanley knew where they were going. He started wagging his tail and his mouth widened into a grin. When they go for rides with his sister, they never go to Sonic. But when it's just Mom and him, when he has that bandage around his throat, Stanley knows he's heading to that place where someone comes right up to your window, pats your head, and hands you a hot dog. That is awesome. To Stanley, the pity, and to his mom, wow. To both of them, cheers. Heckin' good boy. And of course, it wouldn't be a heckin' good boy article if we didn't follow it up with an obligatory cat article. And this one was sent in by Cassidy, so thank you, Cassidy, very much for sending this in. I will copy and paste this into the chats if y'all want to read along. Special holiday delivery from the Middle East. The stray cat who stole a sergeant's heart is now rescued. This was posted at goodnewsnetwork.org. It was posted on December 27th of 2024 by Andy Corbley. A deployed U.S. airwoman had her Christmas wish fulfilled thanks to a nonprofit that undertook a special holiday delivery, rescuing the stray cat who stole her heart. U.S. Air Force Technical Sergeant Tracy was stationed in the Middle East when she found a kitten on her base and named it Walter. The orange tabby offered comfort to the woman so far from home, but as the end of her deployment neared, she couldn't bear to leave him behind, knowing he risked starvation and euthanasia. Starvation or euthanasia. Caitlin in the Facebook chat about our last article, that's so... Oh, sorry, the beer is getting to me. That's so wholesome, makes me want to see if my cat can donate. That is awesome to see that article have that effect. That is a thing to look into for our fur babies, is if they can donate and save the lives of other fur babies. So something to look into, maybe not. You might not be there, it all depends. There's a lot going on. It all depends. But it's really cool. Nice to hear, Caitlin. Let's get back to this one. So she turned to the veteran-led, New York-based Paws of War to help. They focused on entering countries where U.S. soldiers are deployed and rescuing animals they may have formed bonds with. The CBS news station in New York reported that it can cost as much as $10,000 to perform these extractions, as they require plane tickets, various medical procedures, and paperwork filings with governments at home and abroad. But Walter was rescued in time for Christmas when, after arriving first in New York, Paws of War volunteer and U.S. Army veteran Derek Cartwright drove the orange tabby to the waiting arms of Sergeant Tracy's husband all the way in New Hampshire. It's the least we can do for these service members who are sacrificing so much, not only their safety, they are going to be away from their families this holiday. They are in a faraway place, a dangerous place, said Robert Misseri from Paws of War. And there is a video from CBS News New York regarding a special delivery from overseas lands in New York. To the group Paws of War, and to Eliza, or to Cassidy, for sending in that article, for getting these animals out of these war zones where they affect so many lives for the better, and getting them into the hands of the soldiers who cared for them and want to give them homes. Cheers. All right, so we are going to get out of flora and fauna, and we are going to get into the wholesome note. This is our last article of the night, and this one is about two heckin' good boys. And I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Thank you all for sticking with me. I know this has been a long episode with a lot of long articles, but by all, I appreciate everything. I appreciate all of you. So let's get into this one. This one, I don't think this one was sent in by anybody. So if it wasn't, or if it was, producer Dawn is about to yell at me. And while she yells at me, we'll get into it. Good boy dog influencers raised over $16,000 for animal shelter facing flood damage ahead of the holidays. This was posted to goodgoodgood.co on December 23rd of 2024 by Cameron Baker. Christmas time is especially magical for Alex Morgan, creator of Good Boy Ollie, a social media account dedicated to the shenanigans of her two Labrador retrievers. On Christmas in 2022, Morgan's chocolate lab and TikTok icon Ollie gained a little brother, a yellow lab named Tato, short for potato, of course. Oh, Eliza sent this one in. Dang it, we're going to have to change that in post. Eliza, I apologize. Thank you very much, Eliza, for sending this one in. I knew somebody sent this one in. It just slipped my mind. Dang it, norovirus. In 2023, with the help of their audience of millions, the trio donated 2,000 gifts to animal shelters at the National Animal Welfare Trust, Berkshire. And this year, they've outdone themselves once again. With the generosity of their 2.4 million Instagram followers and 7 million TikTok followers, And also, I followed them on Instagram with the Nicks News Instagram earlier today. Ollie and Tato once again hosted a holiday toy and supply drive, but they also raised more than £13,000, or over $16,288, for NAWT Berkshire. Not only have you helped deliver thousands of toys, beds, important supplies, and food to Not Berkshire, but you have also raised almost £14,000 with gift aid for Not Berkshire for Tato's Christmas run, Morgan wrote on the dog's Instagram page. While Ollie played the role of Santa Paws in this do-good endeavor, Tato and Morgan will be taking part in a race dressed as an elf, all with the motivation of raising funds for the shelter. Tato, with his mom, will be taking part in a winter canicross race dressed as Santa's elf, a fundraising page explained. Any donations will be greatly appreciated. We have witnessed firsthand what wonderful care everybody at Knot takes of their animals. They truly deserve the best Christmas ever. It has also been an especially difficult year for the shelter, which experienced flooding and has been repairing its facilities over the past few months, in addition to supporting the needs of countless animals. This year especially has been incredibly tough financially for the charity, Morgan shared on Instagram. With rising bills, so many animals needing complex medical care, and never-ending flood damage, this money will help them more than we could have possibly imagined. Not Berkshire's recent fundraising efforts have been devoted to keeping the lights on to ensure all its facilities have their energy and heating needs met as bills rise and more floods are predicted in the coming year. The support from Ollie and Tato's loyal followers have certainly made a difference. We cannot begin to express how grateful we are, Not Berkshire commented on the dog's Instagram page. Ending a rather tough year on an incredible high thanks to everyone's support. Did anybody catch... Hi, Eliza, in the Facebook chat. Did anybody catch the tone change on the camera? Is it just me, or does the camera still look right? I don't mean to pause, but I need to double check and see if this is something I need to change in my settings. Because if the camera changed... So what just happened is I have a amber light setting for these two new monitors, and I have a specific time that it goes off, and it just did. And I watched the monitors change, but I didn't know if their output was changing how I look. Looks fine. Just you. So yeah, so it must be... So I'm noticing that it shifted into amber light mode, but I didn't know if the output was going to affect me because they're so bright. So I see things fine. Okay, we'll finish out this article. Thank you everybody very much for confirming that with me. I can leave it as is. With the influx of supply donations, too, all the animals, including donkeys, sheep, and of course dogs and cats, will have access to essentials and some fun toys through the holidays. Looks okay from Ben. Thank you all very much. I keep forgetting the toys aren't for me. A playful voiceover acts as Ollie's inner monologue in a video posted from the account. But I know the rescue doggies need them so much more. In the same video, Morgan and the dogs highlighted some animals in need of loving homes as well, encouraging followers to adopt and help them find their forever homes soon. With wagging tails and festive crocheted hats, the dogs had one final message for everyone watching at home. We can't thank you all enough for helping us deliver the best Christmas ever, said the Ollie-specific voiceover said in the video. And in the caption, Morgan added, "The kindness of this community never fails to amaze us." That is awesome. To two heckin' good boys and their owner, Morgan, and to Eliza for sending in that article, cheers. Thank you, Caitlin, in the Facebook, also confirming that the screen change did not affect anything else, so it's just how I saw it. Their forever home from Eliza in the Facebook chat. That is adorable. Let me check off that everything looks fine. So that was awesome. 7 great articles to kick off 2025. Again, everybody, wash your hands. Don't get norovirus. It sucks. We're not going to end on that, though. We'll end with our usual outro of thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nicks News Facebook page or the Nicks News YouTube page. We're live usually every Sunday, and our next episode is going to be on January 12th of 2025. I encourage participation, so by all means, please send in suggestions for news brews, for shout-outs, for news quotes, and especially for good news articles that we can present on future episodes. I always appreciate a variety of articles that are spread out across our categories, again, of science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes. The really nice heartstring articles we like to end on, the ones that tug on your heart and just make you feel good. You can message us on Facebook or on Instagram or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. If you do message us, keep it on the Nicks News Facebook Messenger. That is the one that the team checks and has access to for finding everything posted, and we can all review it, every member of the Nicks News team. So that one's the one to do, or our email at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. I check it on a daily basis, a couple times a day actually. So if you have anything, send us that stuff in via those methods. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on our Facebook and YouTube videos to get the good news and the joy out into the algorithm. Man, that beer really is kicking me. Man, it's really kicking me. I'm sorry. I'm flubbing through this outro. I'm not going to tell you to do anything, but I'm going to tell you how much I appreciate every single like, comment, and subscription. The YouTube page is up to 50 or 51. The Facebook page is cruising over 200 and continues to grow. And I can't thank you all enough so much for just supporting the good news and what we're doing here, which is just trying to spread good news and get into the algorithm and combat all that bad news we're bombarded with. Thank you all so very much. And I hope that 2025 will continue to be an amazing year for this program and getting this good stuff out into the world. As always, thank you again. I love you all so much. Have a great night, and I will play us out.